Welcome to the Fabulous Fifties and Beyond. I'm Jim Pollard, your co-host with my wife, Jeanetta. Today it was our annual Christmas show, and we're going to be talking about different aspects of Christmas, traditions, what it means to you, what it means to us, what it means to the world. Stay tuned now. We'll be right back.
And he'd say, go with what you got. Start from where you are. Give it your best shot. Keep reaching for that star. Get in the race, keep your own pace, keep moving and never stop. Just go, go with what you got.
Welcome back. We just want to say how much we've really enjoyed bringing these shows to you down through the last 2.5 years. This is our third year, and this is our third time to be able to celebrate Christmas with you here on Channel 2 and throughout the Western Kentucky area. We're excited about continuing with our show, and we want to thank you for the encouraging remarks that we get when we're out meeting different ones. As they say, they watch our show weekly, and that's exciting to know. We've talked about that around the studio here, how that different people have said, we watch the show every week. What was it you got told this week?
You're the TV lady.
And this is exciting. And we just want you to know how blessed we feel that we are. I want to talk about Christmas. No guests today, just the two of us, and we share with you some of our thoughts about Christmas. And I guess one of the best things to start is with some of the traditions that we've had, Jeanetta, and I'll let you talk about some of those.
Well, of course, there's a lot of traditions, and this is, I think, so important when you're raising your children, is that you teach them things, and there are things that they will learn from you. We always had a country ham breakfast, didn't we?
We always had a country ham breakfast because I always had a country ham breakfast when I was growing up as a child at my grandparents' house.
And it would be all your family, your cousins, your aunts, uncles, and then you would have Christmas at another grandmother's? We
would have Christmas dinner or lunch at my other grandmother's house, and boy, could they cook. I remember fresh coconut cake. She would make her own boiled custard, no store-bought, homemade boiled custard. And ambrosia, I bet some of them out there don't even know what ambrosia is. Tell them what it is.
Well, it's kind of a fruit salad with coconut, right?
That's right, yep. Yep, all kinds of fresh fruit, oranges, tangerines, pineapple, coconut, cherries, just really good.
Well, and you know, fruit was actually a treat back when we were growing up because we didn't have fruit like we have fruit today.
No, I've talked about it. We live in such a mobile society today, and that's the reason that some of the traditions have changed, because we are in such a mobile society. Just like us, I've always said we were the gypsies of our family. We got up and we got married and we took off, and we lived in South Florida for 23 years while the rest of our families were around close by and could go home at any time, but yet we were off down in, as gypsies.
Yeah, and we were, one of the things I think that we learned by living in South Florida is that I was used to having a big family because I have 3 sisters, and we all got together at Christmas. And you had 2 brothers, and you had, you know, you were blessed to have your grandparents, because I've never really had grandparents. My one grandmother died when I was 5, and the other one had died before my dad even, I think he was about 2 years old. So I've never, and then my grandfather died. My only grandfather I ever knew died when I was like 12 or 13. So I never had the grandparent thing that you did.
Yes, I even had 2 great-grandfathers and grandmothers, 1 great-grandmother and 2 great-grandfathers that I actually got to know. Of course, again, I'm the oldest of the oldest of the oldest. I was the oldest son of the oldest son of the oldest son, and that makes a difference. And that's how sometimes you get into that. But the traditions that we had they were really something, you know, and to do the different things. And another thing, that when we were off like that you were always gracious in doing, that I thought, and this is something that people around here can do. You can do it anywhere, especially in a college town or a college area. We knew that we were off down there without family, but there are a lot of other people that are without family, a lot of college students, a lot of single people that are without family. So every special occasion, Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, we always invited others who didn't have family into our house, and I think that's a great tradition that people could start.
It is, and it's something that that we both really enjoyed because, I don't know, just having the four of us, we had two children, and it wasn't exactly like what we were talking about, about having a house full of people. So we really did enjoy having people in, and that there were some that kind of just became a part of our family. And I think it was good for, not only for us, but it was really good for them, because there are people who spend the holidays by themselves. That's very sad.
Yeah, it's a very lonely time, a very depressing time if you have to spend it by yourself.
But, there are a lot of lonely senior citizens too, because some of them don't, their families have died, and a lot of their friends have died.
Well, that's right. And the older you become, the less friends and family that you have that are alive. We were watching a show just the other day about seniors, and I mean, here was a lady that was 96 years old, and her daughter was 72.
That's right.
If you think about that, and this was her family. Her daughter was 72, and then they asked her how she was doing. She said, "I'm doing fine, and my daughter's doing okay too." But we need to realize that there are people that are without family out there.
And we could always invite them into our homes. And, like I said, it makes our holiday better and it makes theirs. And I do remember one when we were in South Florida. I don't know if you remember this or not, but this lady's house had burned just like the day or two before, and she and her family ended up spending Thanksgiving Day with us, along with some other people. And I was washing clothes most of the day because we were trying to get the smoke out of some of their clothes.
Yeah, that's when I was pastoring, and the
Yes,
house
it
burned
was.
like 2 blocks away from us,
Yes.
and we went there and invited them in to come and spend Thanksgiving with us.
And they were even, and I'm not saying this because of us, but they were even a different race. But that has nothing really to do with, as far
No.
as we're concerned, because people
No.
are people.
Yeah, we lived in South Florida, and we pastored in a changing neighborhood, and our church was multiracial, and it was a real experience for us to do that and to be involved with the different traditions from different. I mean, I can remember some of the weddings that I conducted. I mean, they were different in that the way that the wedding parties were and the different things that went on, and it was quite unique, some of the things that we found down there. The culture was, it's a multicultural area, and we became very well acquainted with the different cultures.
Well, and I thoroughly enjoyed it myself. And I said that anybody who's never lived anywhere except in Western Kentucky has led a sheltered life.
Yeah, as far as cultures are concerned.
And until you've lived in a big city, you just don't know what it's like.
Right. But we had, we thoroughly enjoyed it, and we had a lot of fun down there. Let's talk about some of our traditions.
Okay. Well, one of the things is the food. We always have the same thing every year, just about cranberry salad, which I've had that recipe for several years and make it every time, and then with green beans and ham and turkey and homemade rolls if I can make them.
Talking about the cranberry salad, that was kind of a recipe that came from my mother, if I remember correctly, and my mother did not grind the cranberries in a grinder. She actually took her by her hands and cut them up, didn't she? Each time she actually took them and cut them up, and a lot of those traditions and a lot of the old recipes that they fixed differently.
Yeah, these are things that are passed down from generation to generation. And a lot of times we have fruit salad, and you were talking about fresh coconut cake. Of course, in Florida, we could pick the coconuts off the trees.
Off the trees, that's right.
Yeah. It's not like that up here, but it's still really, and even the frozen coconut is like the one that you used to grate and all that and grind and everything.
I think back, one of the funniest things was when our son was living in the islands and working over there. He was there for Thanksgiving that year, and he's a good cook, and he was the designated cook for all the guys that was living there. What was it, 3 times on Thanksgiving Day he called you for recipes?
How do you make this, Mom? How do you do this? And of course, down there, he was on St. Thomas. He told me he had to rush out to the grocery store when the trucks came in to get sweet potatoes, or else they're gone. They're gone off the shelves, and you just don't go out and restock them when you're on the islands because they have to come from a boat. But that was another experience.
Yeah. I thought that was so funny. 3 times he called that day wanting to know about recipes and how to fix different things.
He's a good cook. He
Yeah.
can cook as well as I can. He made chocolate pies, and that's one of the things he was calling me about.
Yeah, what else? We called about that and what, sweet potatoes? I don't know. There was 2 or 3 things that he called about
It's been
that
a couple
day.
of years ago.
Yeah, that's been a few years ago, but I thought it was very interesting. Well, we during the second half of the show, I want us to talk about the real meaning of Christmas, and we're going to look at the scripture, the real story of Christmas, and what it means to each of us, because it is an important time of year in our life and in the life of Christians, and what it means in their life. So we want to talk about that in our second half. So anything before we go into the second?
Well, one of the things I think that we've always taught our children, and that people need to teach their children, is about giving to others.
Right.
So many times we tried, to give to some family, that didn't have as much as we did. And I think this is something that our kids have learned well.
Oh, I think they've learned it very well, because they're giving of themselves and their time and their money to help others also. Well, we're going to take a break now, and we're going to let you and Pam talk about food and nutrition primarily. And while you do that, I'm going to take a break. So you stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
We welcome Pam Ward back today. Pam is a registered dietitian at Western Baptist Hospital, and she's going to share with us today, we've been talking about the holidays, because the holidays are just right up on us. They just come, it seems like faster every year.
I was going to say, the older I get, the faster they come, it seems.
Although I sometimes tell Jim that we could have it 2 or 3 times a year.
Well, I bet you all could.
But I said it'd probably kill everybody else.
Yeah, you all could. I don't know, with my little boy, I probably could too. Well,
isn't it fun with kids at Christmas
Oh, and
time?
he's only 2, so it's more fun for me than it is for him right now. But major planning goes into Christmas for the appropriate
Of course.
Santa gifts and all those things. So I'm having a ball. My husband thinks I'm a nut, but I'm having a blast.
Just enjoy it. They're only young ones.
I know. But I say that about a lot of things. Oh, he's only, so let him tear the swing set down. He's only little ones. But yeah, it's just been a blast so far this year. So I can't wait.
Yeah.
But this year this time we're gonna slip on past Christmas, because it's just around the corner of New Year's. And I want to talk a little bit about New Year's resolutions. A lot of folks that I think I read that 40% of Americans, one of their New Year's resolutions is to lose weight.
To lose weight,
That's
right.
one of the biggies. Lose weight and exercise tend to be two of the most common. Stop smoking. There's several of them out there that are wonderful, but they're hard to do. And so today I just want to talk about how to make them stick, how to make the resolutions stick, so that they're not wonderful January 1st, January 15th, you're like, oh, and by February they're gone. We want to do something, because all of these things are more lifestyle changes. To lose weight, you're going to have to change the way you eat. To exercise, that's a whole different mindset for us. So all these things, we're looking at forever changes. We're not looking at short-term changes. So hopefully I can give you some ideas
about how we can do
how
it.
to make it stick. How to make it stick. And one of really the first one is, what's your motivation? A lot of times that will tell you right up front how successful you're going to be. If you're like, oh, I've eaten too much over Christmas, I need to lose some weight, you're probably not going to stick with it. If you're, I have diabetes, the doctor has said I need to do this, or, I have carried this extra 30 pounds for too long, I'm ready to get it off. If it's not a spur of the moment thing, if it's something you have a definitive reason for doing it, you're probably going to be much more likely to stick with it. It's those, just like I said, spur of the moment. Or if you make the same resolution over and over and you've broken it over and over, you're not as likely to stick to it. But if you, figure out your motivation, and it's a good, strong reason, you're going to be a lot more likely to stick with it. The other thing is, set realistic goals. Don't say, I need to lose 110 pounds. I need to lose 20 pounds. And when you reach that goal, celebrate. Not with food, because we tend to celebrate everything with food, but buy yourself a new CD, or go get a massage, or whatever it may be.
Or buy yourself some new clothes.
Buy yourself some new clothes, but
Right.
set realistic goals that you can actually reach, so that you're not always setting yourself up for failure. And I see people that need to lose 100 pounds and they'll lose 65, and all they see is that they didn't lose the 100 pounds.
Right.
And I'm like, you lost 65 pounds. That's amazing. So set realistic goals, and then, as I said earlier, these are lifestyle changes. These are not short-term quick fixes. We're looking at lifestyle changes. So focus on the behavior you need to change rather than the goal so much. I need to not eat a snack in the afternoon of a candy bar. Focus on the behavior, and when you get the behavior to change, your goal, you'll reach your goal. But focus on what you've got to do to get there, and then make tasks non-negotiable. And what I mean by that is, for example, if you say, all right, I'm going to get up 30 minutes early every morning and I'm going to exercise. And the alarm goes off at 5:30 and you think, oh, I don't really want to do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. You're not going to ever do it. But if you make it non-negotiable, it's just like getting up and going to work. Work is non-negotiable.
That's
I don't
right.
get to every morning,
Say whether or not you want to go.
Yeah, and if you treat the exercise or whatever it may be, that way it is non-negotiable, you're going to be more likely to stick to it. But allow yourself to be imperfect. It's like we've talked about before. If you make a mistake or you stray from whatever you're trying to do, that's okay. We all do it. Just get back on it. Learn to redefine the physical feelings, whatever it causes. For example, losing weight, you're going to feel hungry. And rather than focusing on I'm miserable because I'm hungry, focus on that means my body's having to burn fat stores.
Okay.
Look at it as a positive thing, and you'll be a little more inclined to stick with it. And do it now. That's the thing. You don't even necessarily have to wait for New Year's. Do it now. If you've got a health or lifestyle change you need to make, do it now.
Right. Don't procrastinate.
Don't procrastinate, and find yourself a buddy. That'll make it a whole lot easier too.
It does. I love to have somebody to walk with, rather than having to walk by myself.
Somebody to walk with, someone that's trying to eat more healthy, all those things. It's always easier with a partner.
That's true. It is. And so and they also hold you accountable.
Yes, they do. You have to answer to them.
Right.
And a lot of times you may not want to do something, but they're like, no, we've got to walk. We've got to do whatever it is. So they're a good motivator, then they're a good support system. So you just can't really lose if you get somebody to do whatever it is along with you.
To me, it really does help you.
It does.
And even in eating, if you can get if you're married, if you can get your husband or wife to join you, at least to some extent.
That's one of the hardest things I see sometimes is partners are not willing to make the changes.
Right.
One spouse needs to, and you're right, it makes it extremely difficult. If your family, your husband, your children, whatever it may be, will get on board with you, it's going to be a whole lot easier.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you
Next year.
That's right, soon.
I will be there.
Welcome back. I'm Jim Pollard, your co-host, with my wife Jeanetta. Today we're talking about Christmas traditions, the ones that we've had down through the years. Now, some of you may not realize it, but Jeanetta and I have been married for 45 years. And so during that period of time, we've developed a lot of traditions, and we try to pick out different ones and use them each Christmas season. We've even got some ornaments, I guess, that we've had since we started decorating a tree.
It's probably true.
And I know we've got different ones that we've collected at different places that we save and put on the tree. Some of your favorites are the ones that we got in Washington, D.C.
That's right. The White House, they're beautiful ornaments.
Yeah, the beautiful ornaments that we have on the tree there. But to us, Christmas is more than Christmas trees and ornaments and lights and presents and things like that. Because we believe that the real reason for the season is Jesus, and what he means in our life, and what he means in the life of our families and the life of our country. And so we want to take time to read the story of Christmas as it's written in the Gospel of Luke in the 2nd chapter. And as I read it, starting with the first verse of the 2nd chapter. Going to be reading from the NIV version as we read it. And so for some of you it may be a little bit different, but we encourage you to listen as we read. It said, "In those days Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to his own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and the line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for the babe to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in clothes and placed him in a manger because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks by night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were terrified. But the angel said unto them, Do not be afraid. I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all people. Today in the town of David a Savior has been born to you. He is Christ the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You will find the babe wrapped in clothes and lying in a manger." Suddenly a great company of heavenly hosts appeared with the angel, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace to men on whom his favor rests." When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said one to another, "Let's go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has told us about." So they hurried off and found Mary and Joseph and the baby who was lying in the manger. When they had seen him, they spread the word concerning what had been told them about this child. And all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds said unto them. But Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things they had heard and seen, which were just as they had been told. As we think about this is really the essence of what Christmas really is, isn't it?
Of course it is. That's the reason for the season.
Yeah. I was thinking as I was reading that about when we were there in the Holy Land and the different places that we saw. Now, we know that for every place in the Holy Land, there's two places, primarily at least two, if not three, places that they point out for every historical significant happening. There's two places where they say Christ was born. There's two places where they say that Golgotha was. There's two places for each of the different things. But we actually went out in the fields and saw a cave where, like, the shepherds would be living. We don't realize it, but the shepherds in those days, they stayed out 24 hours a day. And if the weather was bad, they would actually go into a cave. And we saw some of the caves that were in the area there. We saw the Church of the Annunciation, where they say that down in there was where Christ was born. But we saw these different things in the Holy Land, which was quite an experience within itself also.
Yeah, but, regardless of what they say, you know that somewhere along the way that you walked where Jesus walked.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So that's what's really important. And you see, like the desert, you see where the children of Israel wandered in the desert for so long. And
yeah, we saw the desert land. It was quite unique when we saw that. We also saw Petra, which I thought was real interesting. The rose, what do they call it, the rose stone city?
Rose-colored city.
Rose-colored city. But, and the amazing thing about it, that a lot of these places over there are the same today, or almost the same today as they were back then. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we saw the Bedouins. They were still living in their tents, just like the main difference was that they had a TV antenna sticking out of their tent.
Yeah, they had these tents out in the desert.
They were still living
with
out
a TV antenna up. They had portable TVs.
Like they did back in Bible days.
Yeah, and they wandered. The Bedouins were wanderers, sheep herders and wanderers, and that's what they did. They wandered and with that, which was quite interesting also.
Yeah. But I think getting back to, today, I mean, so many people get in such a hustle and a bustle, and they don't take time to enjoy Christmas. And this is not what Christmas is supposed to be about. It's not who can buy the best, most expensive gifts and do all these things. It's about really family and being with family and friends, and we really need to, you know, kids enjoy time with family. I was reading in Dr. Dobson's magazine, this lady, she said she watched her kids open their gifts at, you know, the morning of Christmas, and said they was just ripping one and then they'd toss it aside and rip another one, you know, and you know, sometimes those things don't really mean that much to them. Then you find them playing with the paper and the bows and the boxes.
That's my favorite expression, that after 2 hours of playing with the toys, they go to the paper and the boxes and play with them.
So we really do need to teach our kids that there are people in the world who don't have these things. And you know, I'm sure most people know that you're Santa Claus, and you hear these kids come in, 5-year-old kids come in wanting iPods for Christmas and things like this, and it's just, we just need to, Christmas should be a simple time when we enjoy family and being together and going to church and, you know, things like this.
Right. Another thing I want to say, because we're running out of time, is that Christmas 2006, there are a lot of men and women on foreign soils that are protecting us so that we can worship, think the way we do. People need to realize that they're over there fighting so that the guy that doesn't believe like I do can have his say-so also.
Right.
And that's important that they realize that. And we need to remember those men and women in our prayers and in our thoughts, and especially their families. If you know someone whose husband, whose father or their mother is in service somewhere today, take a little special time and spend with them. Thank them for what they're doing. And we need to realize this and to be ever thankful and grateful for what we have. And we need to always remember that we may be in the worst situation that there is in this country, but we're so much better off than most countries in the world.
That's true.
Well, another year is coming on, and we want to thank you all for your watching our show. I want you to know that we'll be back next year, and so you stay tuned each week to watch our shows. We'll be bringing you new, enlightening news, different programs that are available for you, different things that are going on, and different guests. You can always reach us through our website, www.thefabulous50s, 50 spelled out, .net. And you can also write us. Jeanetta, give our address.
Well, we all wish you a Merry Christmas and hope your holiday is a wonderful time. And it's P.O. Box 7, Bose, Kentucky, 42027.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and remember, use it or lose it.
Can't see as well as I used to, can't run as far or as fast. Sometimes I think that the old me is becoming exactly that. But when I start thinking of all I don't have, that's when I tell poor me